Alright, we are back with another video today. We are going to be talking about Bitcoin. We're going to be talking about altcoin Bitcoin valuations, and we're going to be talking about some macroeconomic stuff as well. So let's get this started first. And I remember I think this the last time we were talking was right about here, maybe. We were just breaking below that 100. I think it was when we were breaking below the 100-week moving average result. Yeah, right here. I was talking about how we're going to kind of teleport straight down without any meaningful bounce to $23,000. I was talking about how we're going to get to $23,000 relatively quickly within a month or so. And we did that, and we broke below that level. We broke below that level. Sort of the environment right now is not really keen to having these support levels sort of held, and since we broke that level, we are on to the next important level, which I think is $16,000, which corresponds with the 300-week moving average, which previously provided the March 2020 crash bottom. We wicked right there. We haven't gone to that level yet, and we did see a nice little buying wick right here. And whether you like it or not, we did see capitulation as well. I don't know how you can say this is not capitulation. We literally fell by 33% in a week. That is capitulation right there. But getting on to that, where could we bottom out at? What are some different levels we can talk to? What if this level doesn't hold? And what could be a full confirmation potentially? And sort of what the structure is right now. So identifying the structure right now, we are in a parabolic dump mode. This is a weekly chart look. As you can see, we are sort of dumping parabolically. We're sort of just dumping harder and harder and harder as time goes on, and it kind of shows that people just right now want out of the crypto markets as of now, and they're FOMO dumping and they're FOMO shorting right now. This is a FOMO shorting event, but FOMO mania phases can go on for longer than we think. As you can see right here in 2017, we had this mania phase right here, and as you can see, we went from stinking $200 all the way to stinking $1,200, and then we went up to $3,000, and we kept going and going and going, and we just had this insanely fast rally up to $20,000. Before then, we sent Bitcoin back into reality right here. And as you can see right here, this was parabolic right here. We went from stinking $2 up to $17, and then we were going up to stinking $250. Kind of set it a little bit back into reality from to $60 right here. But then we just absolutely went parabolically, and in no time we went up to $1,100 right here. All the way from $2 in a little more than 2 years. And that's sort of the thing right here, is that we're sort of doing the exact opposite of this parabolic rally. We're in a parabolic dump phase. But as you can see, when the structure broke of these parabolic mania phases, that's usually when the tops were in. Those are good times to sell right here. So, in my honest opinion, I feel like this parabolic dump can kind of continue right here. Like, I'm speculating something like this. Maybe we get one last dump right here. Or in my worst case, we can go all the way down to here. And then when we break, this will be the time to buy, maybe right here. But the structure hasn't broken yet is the thing. And the selling pressure is strong. The selling pressure is very, very strong. And don't take any of this as financial advice, by the way. I don't know if I need to say that. Just whatever. No, not at all. This is just analysis. This is not financial advice whatsoever. I'm just kind of explaining my viewpoints out to a video right here that nobody's probably going to watch. But anyways, let's get right back at this. What my base case is for Bitcoin, what my worst case, what a lower level case for Bitcoin is, and sort of where some confluences below this level is, and talking about where I might actually say the bottom is in. So let's see right here that we have so we're sort of in this little like relief rally right here. Honestly, my base case right now is we could get up to 23K, and we can come down to 16K right here. And then what the RSI would show is that we can form a bullish divergence right here. So we see a nice bullish divergence kind of like that on the daily time frame, as you can see. And that looks like a pretty weak one. But then we sort of just find a bottoming structure kind of like this. So I'd say our bottoming structure could look like this. We kind of just consolidate for a while up until 2023. Maybe in 2023 towards the end, let's say like after the midterms, we get a nice little rally back up to $30,000, and then yeah, then we can move up from there. I don't see all-time highs anytime soon, though. Definitely not this year. Well, that's sort of my base case right here, is that we sort of bottom at this 16K level. We sort of consolidate for a little bit, and then we move up. But let's talk about another situation. Let's say that 16K doesn't hold. If 16K does not hold, I do think we'll go down to $11,000. I think we'll go down to $11,000 to $10,500. And right here, so this corresponds with the 300-week moving average, which March 2020 bottomed at. Let's just say that we do not hold this level. So let's say that we get rejected right here. We fall down to 16K, and then we get rejected at 17K, and we fall down further. If we get rejected from the parabolic dump line at stinking at 16K, and if we don't hold 16K and we kind of close multiple dailies below, this is not a wick, we will fall so fast and finish the summer at around $11,000. I think it is a possibility of us going that low. It's not my base case, obviously, but $11,000 is a possibility down here. And if we were to go to $11,000, it would be relatively quick. It would be literally by the end of the summer, if we were to go to $11,000. And that confluence comes with the 500-week moving average. We have never seen the 500-week moving average before. On this chart, the 500-week moving average only started at around 2021. And on the BLX chart, this is sort of my speculative view. It's not this was my speculative predictionary thing that I hold no weight to whatsoever. On this, the 500 weeks moving average started in 2020, so we haven't seen the 500-week moving average for very long since it's a relatively new asset. I could see us going down to that 500-week moving average. It is a possibility. It's not my base case. My base case is that we consolidate between 23 and 16,000 for the rest of the summer, and then we get a nice rally back up to 30,000 by the end of the year, and then we sort of consolidate here a little bit more, and then we see new all-time highs by around like mid-2023 or so, depending on what the macroeconomic situation has. But no, with that, there's a lot of amazing confluence right here though for support at this $11,000 area, and that's when people are probably going to say that Bitcoin is dead. Bitcoin is there's no more market cycles forever. I heard that a little bit though right here too, that market cycles are no longer existing. They're just going to go straight back to $3,000, blah 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 blah. I could see that happening if we get down there. But But that's sort of my worst case. But for me to say that the bottom is in, for me to confirm that the bottom is in, I do think that right here we have to stink in close multiple weeklies above the 200-week moving average right here. So we have to be above the 200-week moving average. We have to be above 23K at around July-ish. And not only would that confirm multiple weeklies above the 200-week moving average closing, but this also corresponds to us breaking this parabolic dump structure that we got right here. And that would have me say that the bottom is in. So that's talking about my Bitcoin stuff. I didn't get too tangenty right here. I'm not discussing my strategies for what I'm doing, which is good because I'd get off on a lot of tangents for that. But that's sort of the structure that I was talking about way back a long time ago right here, is that we sort of just respect these moving averages and we also respect these Fibonacci levels. It's quite that simple in my opinion. If we don't hold this fib level, we drop straight to the next. If we don't hold this fib level, we drop straight to the next. And this would be insane, and for sure, this is extremely low probability, massively low, but if we don't hold 10K, then we'll drop this stinking 6K, 7K. I'm not thinking that these are extremely likely, but it all matters if we hold these support levels. Obviously we're not going to get, I obviously do not expect us to get this low, despite what a lot of furus are saying on Twitter. I do think that 10K is somewhat likely, a decent probability. I do think that the more likely, my most base case is 16K holding. But yeah, that's with Bitcoin. And also, with my base case, this would kind of come well with the federal funds rate. So I'm going to be doing some nice technical analysis on the federal funds rate. This is a monthly chart, so we haven't seen where the actual rate is at. Right now it's at 1.5. So right now we're at 1.5 for interest rates right here. And honestly, where do I see us going next? I see us having another 50 basis point rate hike this July. So I do think that in July for the FOMC meeting, we'll see a 50 basis point rate hike right here. And that kind of comes with the strong trend. We're sort of in a parabolic mania phase as well for the stinking federal funds rate. But look at what level this is coming to. This is coming to the 300-week moving average, or 300 month moving average, because this is a monthly chart. So the average rate for the last 300 months has provided massive resistance, and whenever we get to this level, it doesn't bode well for the stock market or for the economy. The economy doesn't really do that great when we get up to these levels right here. When we get up to this 300-week moving average, the economy just goes into full dumping mode. Actually, are we going to do month? Yeah, it's the same thing on the monthly chart. But that's what happens when we get near there. And right now, it's at around 2 for the federal funds rate. So I could really see us getting to this 2 level, and that could maybe be where the last dumperino for Bitcoin comes in, is when that rate hike happens at around 16K in July, and then the following month, and then this is when the news comes out that a recession is going to happen. So we will get a recession, and I think that jobs numbers are going to look absolutely atrocious. I could see this already with the tech companies that are freezing hires. Maybe we get a little deviation above this. Maybe that's where the deviation comes into play. And then the Fed is going to see that people are struggling with these rate hikes. That that this is not helping the economy at all. People are literally unable to buy to sustain themselves. They're not going to be able to. What is it called? It's just getting the economy is going to be in such poor shape that That they can't do it anymore. They're literally gonna be like, yeah, and then the GDP right here. Let's say the GDP. I don't think where would the GDP cross down to? Where did the GDP? Let's say that the GDP kind of comes down a little bit. I think we've already receded, but it only came back in January, but the GDP looks weak. All the jobs reports looks weak, and the Fed, which right now they're aiming at stopping inflation because inflation is really bad. Inflation's actually at 18%. If you look at let's just CPI calculated like the 70s. Chronological changes. No, where was this at? Where was that site that I saw? I did post it on Twitter. On this one website that I saw, the inflation rate's actually 18%, because if we were to calculate it based on the stinking SGS based based off of the calculations that we had since the 80s right here, inflation's actually at around 18%, and we've actually been hovering around 10% for the last decade. So for the last decade, the inflation rate is actually 10%, which actually is kind of crazy because it kind of shows that the stock market isn't really moving up. It's literally just the same price as inflation. And right now is when inflation's getting really, really hot. Which is also a thing. The thing is that the stinking Fed either has to raise rates and create pandemonium for the economy, or if they don't raise rates, pandemonium will happen anyways because of the horrible inflation that we have. And this is where I'm going off on tangents, because the economy is in such a poor, awful shape, and the Fed kind of dug themselves in the hole. They should have started raising rates at around 2021, when the stock market was recovering and prospering, and the economy was just doing was doing pretty well, and the inflation was getting up to like 5% on the CPI. Was the CPI at around 5% at that time? Yeah, the stinking Federal Reserve didn't tighten fast enough. They didn't. They let it stay here at zero for literally a week, and now we're having to suffer from it. It's the American people that have to suffer from it. They don't have to suffer at all from their consequences. They're not struggling to buy gas. They're not struggling to buy groceries. It's us. It's us average everyday people that are in the middle class. But anyways, they're gonna see us go up to these levels right here, and they're gonna look at the economic data, and it's gonna be horrible. It's gonna be really, really bad. And I do think that it'll stay right here for a while, and then maybe they have to cut again. They'll be forced to, because the economy is in such bad shape. And maybe this is where Bitcoin maybe bottoms out at. Maybe there's some confluence right here for when Bitcoin bottoms out at. It's kind of hard to tell. The economy just stop. It's just horrible. There's nothing we can do about the economic situation. It's just really, really, really bad. Just looking at it. And the Fed, it's just horrible. It's absolutely awful. But getting back at the Bitcoin chart, that's sort of my base case charts wise, is that maybe we do this right here. And then maybe my worst case is that we keep parabolically dumping down to $10,000. But I do think that in the long run, and in the long run, I do think that Bitcoin will recover. Well, whether we do this, whether we do something like that, or we do something like this, where we, just like that. I do think that Bitcoin will recover in the long term. Its fundamentals are amazing. I do like it. Now that we're done talking about Bitcoin, now that we're done talking about my economics rant, about how horrible the economy is. And yeah, because of how horrible the economy is, I do not see us mooning this year at all. I see us more going sideways when the Fed isn't tightening. So I do see us going more sideways. And then as the economy is doing horrible, I see us more going sideways. And then maybe when the economy gets back into decent shape, then we start mooning. That's sort of what I think. Now let's talk about altcoin Bitcoin valuations. So let's talk about altcoin Bitcoin valuations and some of the ridiculous crap I'm seeing on Twitter about altcoins. This is just the beginning or whatnot. This looks like the same exact situation, but in the inverse of when I flipped bearish on Bitcoin. So if you want to know a backstory, I was pretty bullish all the way up until about here. So I was bullish right here. This is when I started. I started investing right around this time when I saw that Bitcoin was dumping by a lot and when I looked at the fundamentals of it. And yeah, I was bullish all the way here, and I was even bullish right here. I didn't flip bearish until right here. This was when I flipped bearish, right at around this retest right here. When we were breaking below the 50-week moving average, I was first neutral right here. I was neutral when right here. I stopped being bullish after this. I was neutral right here, and then when we were starting to retest and we were getting just smacked down by this 50-week moving average, that's when I started flipping bearish. That's when I was done with altcoins. That's when I was like, altcoins are going to drop by 90%. Bitcoin's going to 23K. Was right here. And then as you can see, that was a pretty good time to flip bias right here because we've been dumping ever since. I'm starting to get a little bit more neutral bullish, and maybe I'll start flipping much more bullish when we break this parabolic trend and when we break these levels right here. I'm more neutral right now. I don't know what the trash is going to happen, honestly. We could come right here and bottom right here. We can break right here, and we can even dump all the way to 10K, in my honest opinion. But altcoins I'm still bearish on in their Bitcoin valuations. Right, as you can see during this little pump right here, Bitcoin's pumped by, how much has Bitcoin pumped by? It's pumped by 20%, but ETH has been pumping from sinking $880 all the way up to $1,200. It's got a 40% pumperino in here. Stinking Solana's got a stinking 65% pump. All these other ones like Axie, Infinity, Ponzi is up to stinking 60%. Like all these altcoins are up by like 50-60%. Matic is pumping insane. Matic's up by a 2x, even though that when I sold Matic, I think I sold Matic like right here. Matic is still down by about 70% from when I sold it. Yeah, because that's when I sold all my altcoins was early February. And that has caused the Bitcoin dominance to fall. Obviously, because the altcoins are getting short squeezed right now because people were thinking that they could just get rich quick by shorting altcoins because they were all going to zero in a straight line. And that doesn't occur that way. This is my target 60% for Bitcoin dominance. But look at what we're doing right now, right here. We're doing the exact opposite of when I flipped bearish on Bitcoin. Is when we started testing this breakout, and we're testing it right now as support, and it looks like we do have some quick buys right here, or some altcoin selling, altcoin distributing right there. And we're flipping it into support. And as we're flipping into support, I'm seeing these absolutely idiotic takes. Like I saw one that was saying that altcoins are going to decouple from Bitcoin bullishly. That Bitcoin, they were saying this. They were literally saying that if stinking Bitcoin continues dumping like that they were saying that altcoins are beginning the decoupling. That Bitcoin's not going to really do anything forever. They're just going to stay here. and that altcoins are gonna move. As Bitcoin is dumping, they're thinking that altcoin's gonna moon. That altcoins are decoupling from Bitcoin. That they're no longer reliant on Bitcoin being bullish to be bullish, which is not the case at all. It's so ridiculous. It's so stupid. Some altcoins will decouple. They will decouple. A lot of them, most of them will decouple. It's just not bullish. When the real altcoin decoupling is going to be when Bitcoin's pumping, like when Bitcoin's pumping like that, the altcoins are just going to do this. They're not going to pump as hard. And when Bitcoin recovers to new all-time highs, altcoins are going to just stay stagnant, like some of the dinosaur coins, like Litecoin. Like Litecoin right here, when Bitcoin was making new all-time highs and pumping to 60K, Litecoin didn't even reach the previous all-time high. It literally did a double top right here. A cyclical same high right here. It literally stayed exactly the same. And like this is what true decoupling is. True decoupling is that they just vastly underperform against Bitcoin over the long term. And yeah, that's going to be a lot of these, like Polkadot. I feel like Polkadot will just make new lows over and over and over again, like a lot of these other altcoins. I don't know if it's going to be Polkadot. It's a slot machine trying to determine which altcoins are going to outperform Bitcoin. And the Total 3 is an oscillator. The Total 3 is an oscillator, and it's looking like, and oh my, Total 3 is all the way up at stinking. Total 3 looks like it's completing its Wyckoff distribution pattern right here. It's almost at all-time highs, or at the recent high. All-time highs is all the way up here. That is insane. Total 3's been balling out as of late, but now it's looking like a Wyckoff distribution pattern right here. Or distributive top. Not necessarily Wyckoff, but just distribution in general. Right here. That looks like a Bart pattern top. Right? It just looks like a top. But looking at the Bitcoin dominance, people are very euphoric right now, and we're literally just testing. We're testing important moving averages that are bullishly crossing on the Bitcoin dominance. Is all I really have to say. But yeah, right now I am neutral on Bitcoin as a whole. I don't think the bottom is completely in yet, but I think that most of the dumping is gone. I don't think we're going to parabolically dump like this much longer. We get maybe like one last dumperino to here, and then maybe worst case we come down to 10K. That's probably the worst case. But I do treat this as an even better buying opportunity for the long term, because in the long term, and again, do not copy me because of financial advice. Do not copy me because of my predictions at all. Don't just buy because of what I'm saying. But I do think in the long term, whatever we do, we are going to go back into new all-time highs eventually and prosper and have another mania phase in the future. The only financial advice I could say is to have an emergency fund is literally the only financial advice I could give out, is to make sure that you have enough cash to live well, which is what I do. I always have enough cash to where let's say that I lose my job or whatever, I can still live perfectly fine. That's the only thing that I can really say for actual financial advice. But yeah, personally, I'm putting some money in right now at these levels, and I'll put some money in right here as well, and I'm scaling in my cash position. That's my personal strategy. This is for a more longer term play rather than a short term play. I'm not doing any alts right now. I haven't bought a single Ethereum all year. I've actually sold more Ethereum than anything. And Yeah, I do think that Ethereum, speaking about Ethereum levels, I do think that Ethereum will actually go down to $650. My optimistic target kind of did get deviated though a bit. We saw deviation below the optimistic target, but I do think if in the event that Bitcoin goes down to 16K, I do think there's a decent likelihood of Ethereum going down to $650, which is a 50% dump from here. If Bitcoin goes to 10K, we're going stinking down to $400. That's a crazy low target, but if Bitcoin goes down there, it can. It's very possible to go down there, and I may call this one right here. I may actually do this one, call it red, and title this worst case scenario right here. There we go. There's some more levels right here. I'm getting too off topic right here. Basically, Bitcoin hasn't bottomed yet. These Fibonacci levels are levels to pay attention to. I think Bitcoin will recover. I think that the macro is garbage. But looking at the technical analysis for the macro, if technical analysis does hold true, and the Fed doesn't want to completely dismantle and reset the entire economy, they'll probably have one more 50 basis point rate hike next month. And altcoins are gaining right now against Bitcoin, but it's just a bullish retest of some moving averages that are starting to cross bullishly over the long term in the Bitcoin dominance. So people are getting too euphoric over altcoins on a simple pullback of the Bitcoin dominance, and some idiotic takes from there. So yes, woohoo! I got this video done in about a half an hour. Woohoo! Yes. I'm a terrible speaker. Anyways, that's all I have to say for this video. So yes, bye.